Hello everyone. In this section of the content, I'll be creating a lesson that models formative assessment practices, specifically assessment as learning, while showing how EDSB can be used to assist with documenting of observations and conversations, providing feedback, and planning next steps. The lesson will start from the beginning of the process and show how the curriculum is used to generate learning goals and success criteria for a lesson that incorporates computational thinking into mathematics. So starting with the task on the screen, I have a list of task items not to be confused with success criteria. These are just the general task checklist of items that I would like the students to follow. I would like them to use the chart paper provided to design a maze course that has the following 4 points: a clear start and end point, at least one right angle, at least one angle that is less than 90 degrees, and a quadrilateral with a perimeter between 40 and 80 centimeters. I would also like them to program the Sphero, which is a programmable device, to move through the maze from start to finish, move along the perimeter of the quadrilateral, knock down one object, and change colors at least one time. So again, just a final note, this is the task, this is not the success criteria. Once the task has been described to the students, we move into the learning goals. I have 3 learning goals, which are a mixture of measurement and geometry and spatial sense. This is a formative assessment task, part of my assessment as learning. With that in mind, there has been some pre-teaching which has already taken place. This is not the start of the teaching unit. So because of that, I am more than comfortable having more than one learning goal attached to this task. We are learning to create and compare angles. We are learning to name and describe quadrilaterals. And we are learning to measure and record the perimeter of quadrilaterals. These learning goals are taken from the overall expectations of the curriculum. So I show here that I have pulled one of the grade 4 overall expectations from geometry, along with one of the overalls from measurement. Within those overall expectations, there are some highlighted areas which I have used to inform my overall expectations. We then move into the success criteria, which are generated directly from the specific expectations, and I also pull in from the mathematical process expectations, which I will get into momentarily. So I have 4 success criteria attached to this task. I can measure and record perimeter. I can identify quadrilaterals and describe some of their characteristics. I can identify and compare angles using appropriate vocabulary, and I can measure angles in degrees. So I have listed the 4 specific expectations that I used to inform my success criteria. And as I was mentioning, I also used the mathematical process expectations, specifically communicating and reasoning and proving. Where that comes into play with this success criteria is I could have simply said I can identify quadrilaterals. But by asking students to describe some of the characteristics and also use appropriate vocabulary when identifying and comparing angles, that's where I start to move away from just specific expectations to pulling in some of those mathematical process expectations as well. So again, the big difference between the task checklist and the success criteria, which are pulled directly from specific expectations.